Most of you guys think you have to either lose fat and look skinny or bulk up and look fluffy. But the honest truth is that for 95% of you watching right now, you can very well still build muscle and lose body fat at the exact same time, if you follow the exact systems I'm about to share with you in today's video. Now, these systems I'm about to share with you are the exact systems that I used personally after my bodybuilding show, before I did my high rocks competition, and also the same system that has helped or that has worked for hundreds of busy clients inside of our Barbarian Squad program. So let me break it down step by step. We're going to cover four things. So firstly, we're going to cover the exact calories, protein, macronutrients, steps, and training structure you need to actually execute this properly. Number two, why most men fail and how to guarantee success. Thirdly, some of my client transformations. And then lastly, an actual blueprint that you can start utilizing as of today, as soon as I'm done with this video. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting with section number one, which is why most guys never recomp. So most guys, you go on YouTube and you search up how to build muscle, how to lose fat, and you'll often hear that the most efficient way to do this is to go on a dedicated bulking phase or a dedicated cutting phase. So bulking basically means that you're putting yourself in an intentional calorie surplus. So you're eating more calories than you burn, typically 250 up to 500 calories more than your maintenance. Whereas cutting down means the exact opposite, where you're intentionally eating less calories than you burn on a daily basis, typically a 500 calorie deficit. So for example, if your maintenance calories is set at around 2,500 calories, on a bulk, you'd be probably at around 3,000 calories. And in a deficit, you'd probably be around 2,000 calories, right? And that'll help you gain around 1 pound of fat or of muscle, hopefully, per week, or lose 1 pound of fat per week. And that's commonly what you will hear on most YouTube videos if you were to search this up, right? But the analogy I want to use here, it's almost like doing two separate road trips, which that in itself sounds a bit stupid, right? So if the gas station is on the way to the store, you get gas on the way there and you don't do two separate trips, right? And so 95% of people watching right now can 100% absolutely do a body recomposition, which means both build more muscle and lose body fat under these categories. If you're over 15% body fat, number two, if you haven't been training consistently, number three, if you've been going to the gym, but not intelligently in terms of like you're not actually following a set program. Fourthly, if you're eating like absolute crap and or you're under eating on protein. Another thing here is if you're constantly stressed out, tired, or just really inconsistent with your eating habits, with your sleeping schedule, and with your training schedule. And then lastly, if you're a busy dad or ex-athlete who fell off. So you used to be in great shape, but now you no longer are. So under these criteria, you can very well go through a body recomp. Now, with that said, though, the only men who cannot necessarily do a body recomposition are mainly just elite bodybuilders with years, if not decades, of experience under their belt, because they're simply just so advanced where even if they try to do this, they would just kind of like spin their wheels getting nowhere, right? But especially if you're a newbie, if you're a beginner, you can very well get away with both losing body fat while also building muscle without going through these crazy bulking cycles or cutting cycles. And on top of that too, some of the other guys that cannot necessarily go through a body recomp are already guys that are very, very lean and very, very shredded, and or guys that are on advanced training protocols. So with that said though, yes, you can absolutely still build muscle while losing body fat. So with that said, let's move on to section number two, which is the Barbarian Recomp formula. So this is the formula that we use inside of the program. So there are three separate pillars. And now pillar number one is to eat in a small controlled deficit. Now, this is where a lot of people go wrong because, and again, like this doesn't mean starvation. This doesn't mean keto. This doesn't mean fasting until you faint. A small calorie deficit. Now, this essentially keeps your hunger under control. So you're not in like this huge calorie deficit where all you're thinking about is food. Like, no, a small controlled deficit to keep hunger under control. It also allows you to build more muscle It also keeps your performance nice and high, and also keeps strength increasing over time. So the target that you want to shoot for is to lose around 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. So as an example, if you weigh around 200 pounds, you would aim to lose around 1 to 2 pounds of body fat per week. That is it. Now, when it comes to the second pillar, this is very, very important because a lot of people watching, I assume they don't want to just lose the weights, they just want to lose the body fat. And in order to just lose the body fat while maintaining, if not building some muscle along the way, is going to be keeping your protein intake nice and high. So view protein as like your armor. Science is extremely clear that high protein preserves muscle mass. It also helps build muscle during a deficit. It is very well possible if you keep it to a minimum. It also reduces hunger. And it increases calorie burn just in terms of like it takes a bit longer and your body has to work a bit harder for it to fully break down and digest within your body compared to the other macronutrients, which are carbohydrates and fats. So protein isn't just great for muscle, it also has some amazing satiety purposes. So if you're someone right now who is eating a low protein diet and you have low muscle mass and you're always hungry and you want to change that, very simple fix is just simply increase your protein intake. And try to get at least 0.8, if not 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. Now, just for simplicity's sake, you can get away with 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, but especially if you're already in a calorie deficit, you're naturally going to be a bit more prone to muscle loss, simply because you're eating less calories than you burn, and your body will naturally, slowly but surely start to take muscle away from your body, because it's not like an essential thing your body really requires in order to survive. So muscle tends to be one of the first things your body wants to get rid of when in a deficit, but we can combat that, or at least offset that, by keeping our protein intake nice and high to at the very least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And if you want to be super, super safe, super secure, you can even bump that up to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So we just keep it really simple within our program. If you weigh 150 pounds, just try to eat 150 grams of protein and try to get most of your protein from like actual high quality sources, whether it's chicken, beef, eggs, fish, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, egg whites, you name it, all these high quality sources that have a full amino acid profile, which are the building blocks of protein. If most of your protein comes from those foods, you're going to be absolutely good to go. Now, moving on to the last pillar here, which is what a lot of people, especially nowadays with like all the science and all the TikTok videos, and it gets neglected, but that is this: lift like a bodybuilder and walk like a human. Now, what I mean by that is that you have to lift weights. Like, don't be scared of lifting weights. You need to place a stimulus on your body, because without that added stimulus, your body has no reason for it to adapt and grow more muscle. You could be eating all the protein in the world, but if your body has nothing to do with that protein, it cannot build muscle, right? So you have to make sure that you're training hard, training with intensity, with intent, and progressively overloading. So lifting weights is the muscle stimulus. And then the second thing I said is walk like a human. Steps are going to be really important, because these are going to be your fat loss accelerator. So a lot of people think that you have to do endless amounts of cardio in order to burn a bunch of body fat. And although that is one way to do it, it is not a fun way to do it, nor a sustainable way, because running a couple miles a day every single day, like, most people don't like running, right? And especially if you're someone who doesn't enjoy running, like I myself, like I love running. I come from a running background. I've been running marathons. I just did my High Rocks competition, and I have a marathon coming up in February here in Austin. I'm going to go for a sub 3-hour marathon. So that's my goal. But I know, like, even like most of our clients, like, they don't enjoy running. And I actually used to hate running too, but I still got very lean and very shredded. And that is because I simply substituted running or any other form of cardio for simply walking, increasing my daily step count. And on top of that too, running, like, especially for a lot of people who are right now already a bit overweight and maybe a bit obese as well, running can place a huge just like impact and can be very taxing on your joints, your connective tissues, and your risk of injury is going to be a lot higher as well, especially if you're like a heavier guy trying to run. Like, not only do you look silly doing it, no offense, but secondly, your risk of injury is a lot higher compared to like someone like myself who is already very lean, I'm very slim, and I'm just like a lot more efficient, right? Where like I've never been injured running, essentially, because I'm not carrying on to like that much. Like, the impact on my joints and connective tissues isn't as high. Whereas when it comes to walking, I've never seen anyone get injured by walking. Like you don't hear it like at all. No one says like, oh, I just injured my hamstring, or I just pulled my hamstring, I just tore my quad walking. It doesn't happen, right? And so that is why we advise most people within our program to not do any crazy forms of cardio, not go even on the elliptical or Stairmaster. Like those are great modalities of cardio, but if you don't like doing that, if you hate doing that, if you just despise looking at a treadmill, you can simply put on a pair of shoes and walk outside. It is fun, it is sustainable, it is enjoyable, and you get to be so productive in the meantime because you get to either listen to a podcast, which I love doing on my runs, on my walks, always listen to a podcast where I call one of my friends, I catch up with someone, I do maybe a walking meeting, maybe if the sun is out, maybe take off my shirt so I get to tan my body too. I get some vitamin D, and it just puts you in a good mood, especially if you're able to walk outside. I know nowadays with like winter, you may have to put on a jacket and stuff, but you just feel so good going on a walk. And not only those things that I just listed out, but more importantly, it actually helps you burn more calories in a more efficient and sustainable way. So most people who join our program, we have them have their step count set at around 7,000 to 10,000 steps every single day. And then we modified and adjusted accordingly based on their goals, if they're making progress, and all the other things. But for you guys listening right now, 7,000 to 10,000 steps could be a really ideal way to start your cardio and your walking journey. So like I said, specific form of cardio, it is not required. Walking is king, like it is the king, because science shows that NEAT, which stands for your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically what like the daily movement we do throughout the day, whether it's walking, doing the chores, doing the dishes, doing the grocery shop, like me, like even me doing this video right now, like me talking, me fidgeting, me moving my hands, me talking, me doing all these things. Like I don't account this as like actual exercise, but I am burning calories doing this. And it's just all these subconscious movements. So that's basically what NEAT is, right? And science has shown that this burns way more calories than traditional workouts, because you got to keep in mind, when you do a workout, specifically a cardio workout, sure, you're going to be burning calories while you do it. But a lot of people, they'll do their cardio session, and then for the rest of the day, they're a lazy couch potato and they just sit down all day. And so you're not going to be burning much, if anything at all, throughout the day, apart from when you did your actual cardio session. Whereas if you just simply have a step tracker to keep track of your daily steps, or use your phone, whatever, to keep track of your daily steps, you're going to be burning calories all throughout the day, because you know exactly that's like, okay, I'm currently at, let's say, I mean, my step count is 20,000, but okay, right now, just real life example, I'm at 14.3 thousand steps. I did my morning run. I went on a little walk before my workout this morning. So I'm at 14.3 thousand steps. My goal is 20,000. So I know that I cannot just sit around and do nothing for the rest of the day. I still got to get in my steps. I still have around 6,000 steps left in to take. So I'm conscious of that. So now I know that, okay, I should probably go maybe like an evening walk later on after dinner, or maybe just do something to increase my daily steps. So having this definitely holds you accountable, and you will stay active throughout the day, as opposed to just doing cardio during that 1 hour out of the day and then just completely doing nothing for the rest of the day. Because I'm going to be burning a lot more calories by moving all throughout the day compared to that other person who only did cardio for that one specific moment and then did nothing for the rest of the day. So here's a target that I want you to set for yourself. When it comes to the workouts, aim to do at the very least 2 to 6 strength training workouts per week. So we're going to touch about like training splits a bit later on in this video, but at the very least 2, all the way up to 6. Most of our clients do around 3 to 4. Now, when it comes to your steps, like I said, 7,000 to 10,000 steps daily. Now, with your workouts, this is really, really important. Push every single set close to failure. Don't go through the motion. Don't just go through the movement. Don't just check it off the list, especially if you're serious about results. You have to be training close to failure. At the very least, 3 reps in reserve, meaning that on an exercise where you know you can do 10 reps going to all out, true failure, 10 out of 10 intensity, at the very least, try to get 7 reps on that specific set, right? So 70%, leaving around 3 reps in reserve. Now, during this time, make sure you keep your form strict. So that doesn't mean throwing your form out of the window, using a lot of like body English or a bunch of momentum. Like, no, keep your form strict, because once your form gets thrown out the window, your risk of injury will be a lot higher, and you're not going to be actually stimulating or recruiting most of the muscle fibers that you actually want to train. Like, for example, if you're training biceps and your goal is to train your biceps, and all you're doing is just like using a ton of momentum to get the barbell up. Like, sure, you're going to be using some bicep, but are you really? Like, you're mainly just using a bunch of glutes, a bunch of your lower back, and just a bunch of momentum, and you're not really going to be like at least milking out as much as you can from that exercise. Whereas if you were to do the strict form, keeping everything tight, keeping your core tight, and ideally just sitting down on the bench while doing bicep curls, you're strictly just using your biceps, right? Nothing else is involved. You're not using your body language or body movement, strictly just your biceps. And if you can do that while going close to failure, you know pretty damn well that you took your target muscle to failure using proper form. And now over time, make sure that you also increase the reps and or weight slowly but surely. Because if you're constantly using the 30-pound dumbbells month after month, year after year, expecting your biceps to grow, it sounds pretty moronic, right? Like Albert Einstein obviously quoted this famous quote of, you cannot expect different results doing the same thing over and over again. And the exact same thing applies when it comes to the workouts that you're doing. If you're always doing the same workouts, and I'm not saying different exercises, you can very well, and you actually should stick to the same exercises just to keep or at the very least to making sure you make progress a lot easier to keep track of. But that means that you have to increase the weight and or reps over time. So at the start of the year, if you did 30 pounds, by the end of the year, hopefully you're using 35 pounds at the very least, right? Or 40 pounds or 45 pounds. It depends on the exercise, of course, but you do want to see a nice linear trend upwards in terms of the weight, or at the very least up in reps. If you started at 10 reps, go up to 11 reps the next week, and then 12, and then 13, and then 14, et cetera, et cetera. And then eventually you'll add more weight over time, and then you can repeat the process. So this exact formula is exactly how my client David used to go from 200 pounds. He's down to 175 right now, while also simultaneously getting stronger. And keep in mind, like when he joined our program, like he was detrained, he was skinny fat. So he was in an absolutely prime position to both lose the body fat by putting him in a slight calorie deficit while building muscle by doing hard workouts, progressively overloading, and eating enough protein. It is very, very much possible. It is very possible, but you just need the right system and the right blueprint, which once again, we're talking about today. And also, secondly, my client Anthony, who lost 55 pounds without even using a gym. Like he literally did home workouts. He just increases daily steps, increases protein intake, decreases overall calories, and he toned up. He got honestly pretty strong using his body weight. And yeah, more importantly for him, like he lost 55 pounds. And then lastly, Charles went from 180 down to 148 without sacrificing his favorite foods. Like a lot of people think that, like in order for me to make this actually work, I need to eat bland and boring foods 6 times a day, but that cannot be further from the truth. Like you guys will see my diet and you may think that, Cohnan, he only eats fruits and veggies and proteins and like healthy fats. But that is generally because I enjoy it. Like if I really wanted to eat not that, maybe like some oatmeal with some protein powder, which I do from time to time, like I definitely would. And that's super tasty as well. Most of my clients eat that, but just know that you can still incorporate your favorite foods into your diet, especially if you like to eat out on the weekends. Like we can very easily still incorporate that into your weekly routine, monthly routine, sometimes even daily routine, while still hitting your calories and macros. You just need to know exactly what to eat and what quantities, because where a lot of people go wrong is that, you mean I can eat fast food? I can go out? Yes, but there are restrictions, right? And if you don't know what those restrictions are, you can very easily blow it, and very, very easily. Here's the tough part where, most fast food restaurants, most restaurants in that case, the calories are very, very high, especially if you don't know what to order and you're just aimlessly looking at the menu and just picking the tastiest thing. So anyway, let's move on to section number 3, which is what to actually eat. So we briefly talked about food, but let's talk about the specifics here, right? And this is also the part where everyone literally screws up. So you do not need to go on the keto diet or the paleo diet, carnivore, 0 carbs, eating 6 meals a day, eating clean only, doing intermittent fasting, or doing complicated meal prep. You just need simple, repeatable, high protein meals, especially as a busy guy. You do not need to be a Michelin star chef in order to make this work. You just need simple, repeatable, high protein meals. So inside of the Barbarian Squad, our online coaching program, we build Barbarian meals. So it's just a fancy word that I came up with, but essentially it's just a whole foods diet. So eggs and potatoes could be for one meal, or could be chicken, veggies, and avocado, which is literally one of my favorite meals. Chicken and avocado, oh my goodness, I love it. I've been recently incorporating more potato into my diet too, because I've been running a bit more, increasing the mileage. I need a bit more carbs. And I just got done eating chicken, broccoli, potato, and avocado. And add some hot sauce on top, add your favorite seasonings. Oh my goodness. Like I could literally eat that for like every single one of my meals, especially if you air fry your potatoes. Like who needs a cheat meal if that exists, literally? And another option here is some Greek yogurt with some whey protein powder and berries. Like, don't eat ice cream. You don't need to be eating ice cream if that exists. Greek yogurts with some whey protein, that'll naturally sweeten it up. Add some berries too, which is nature's candy. Like, oh my goodness. And then another one could be like steak, greens, and potatoes, or maybe a rotisserie chicken wrap, or maybe some protein sludge, right? Now, these meals, the ones that I just named off, literally take less than 10 minutes to make. They keep you full. They keep you satisfied. They keep your calories predictable too. They make hitting your protein goals literally automatic, because if you're revolving every single food you eat or every single meal you eat around a good quality source of protein, it just makes hitting your protein goals a whole lot easier, like almost effortless. And also it makes tracking effortless, because if you eat repeatable meals that you enjoy and that you look forward to and that are tasty, you're just going to eat more of those meals, and you don't have to fuss about if this fits within your calories, especially if you know you're going to be eating the same food every single day. Like Monday through Friday, like I eat the same food. Like I'm too busy to be thinking about what I should be making for breakfast, what I should be making for lunch, what I should be making for dinner. Like I pre-plan it in advance. I do my grocery shop once a week. I buy all the food that I need for the week, and then boom, I just eat that. Saves me from doing multiple grocery shops throughout the week. Saves me from having to meal prep every single day. Saves me so much time. Saves me so much money. It's an absolute game changer. Game changer. And now, yes, include treats if they fit within your calories. And so one of my clients said that, and this is literally like what I do as well, but he literally told me that I plan my entire next day's foods every single night the night before, right? So if you plan tomorrow the night before in terms of like the food you're going to be eating, like you're just going to simplify your life so much, right? 0 decisions during the day, absolutely genius. So you do not need more willpower or you need more discipline. You just need to make fewer decisions. You need to automate some things, delegate some things. So let's move over to section number 4, which is the training part. We once again briefly talked about the training part, but let's go a bit deeper into this, because this is the muscle building system. Now, let me make this stupid simple for you. Muscle comes from one specific thing, and that is hard sets close to failure. Not fancy exercises, not doing a bunch of supersets or drop sets or stimulating your inner chest or doing machines versus dumbbells or eating 6 meals a day or doing fasting or doing keto. Muscle building comes down to a couple of things. So number 1, the same repeatable exercises weekly, which means that you should not be program hopping week after week. I know with social media nowadays, you're probably bombarded by different workout programs that you see your favorite fitness influencers share on their page every single day, every single week. And it can be tempting to try their workouts, to do what they're doing. But by you constantly program hopping, you are going to be making it increasingly more difficult for yourself to actually measure your progress. Like the analogy I like to use here is, if you want to become a better basketball player, right? Would you program hop and play soccer the next day and then play golf and then play tennis? Like, no, of course not. You'd stick to your basketball program because you want to get better at basketball. And the exact same thing applies when it comes to muscle building. If you want to build muscle, you should follow a super simple structured plan that fits within your schedule, that you enjoy, that incorporates exercises that you have access to, that you can do, and that you can also progressively overload. And if you're constantly, even like within that, switching from the different exercises week to week, it just makes tracking your progress a lot harder, because if 1 week you're doing the bench press, and then the next week you're doing incline flies, then the next week you're doing dips, and then the following week you're doing a completely different exercise, it's like, well, how do you know after the span of like months if you actually made any tangible results? Like you simply don't, because you have nothing to track. You have nothing to fall back on. Whereas if you do what we do and actually follow a program that is on average 4 to 8 weeks long, and then it's kind of like changes a bit, But the core exercises stay the same. If you're doing bench press 1 week, and then the next week bench press again, and then the following week bench press again, you can see exactly what your progress is like. You can see exactly what you did on week 1, and then what to do on week 2, and then what you did on week 3, and then you know exactly what to do on week 4 in order to make progress. So for example, if on week 1 you did 100 pounds for 9 reps, well, then the following week, you know exactly what to do in order to beat last week's performance. You're going to either keep the weight the same at 100 pounds and do an extra rep, so do 100 pounds at 10 reps, or if you want to add more weight, you can go up from 100 pounds up to 105 pounds and keep the reps the same, 9 reps. Or if you're feeling really, really strong, you can both up the weight and up the reps up to 105 pounds and do 11 reps, right? So there's multiple ways to skin a cat, but this will not be possible if you're constantly program hopping. So number 1, same exercises weekly, stop program hopping. Number 2, 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle group per week. Focus on the quality and not the quantity, right? So that could mean doing 5 sets of bench press on Monday, followed by 5 sets of chest flies on the same Monday. And this was if you were to like maximize going up to 20 sets per week. And on Thursday, you could be doing another 10 sets of chest. Or if you want to stay on the lower side of the volume, you could be doing just 5 sets of chest or on Monday and then 5 sets of chest on Thursday, right? Just splitting it up evenly throughout the week where you're doing at the very least 10 sets minimum per muscle group per week, all the way up to 20. As long as you're within that range, you should be absolutely good to go. Now, when it comes to the rep range, so how many repetitions you do within each set, it's been shown that the hypertrophy rep range, which basically means the muscle building rep range, it's actually a lot broader than we once anticipated. We used to think it used to be like within the 8 to 12 rep range, but now we actually realize that it's a lot broader than that. It's actually from as little as 5 reps all the way up to 30 reps. And so as long as you're within that range, like you're going to be good to go. So some exercises, specifically the compound lifts, tend to favor more so within the lower rep range. So let's say the 5 to 10 rep range, whereas more to the isolation exercises, just to increase your mind muscle connection, avoid your risk of injury, tend to be better done in the higher rep range. Let's say 10 to 20 reps or even 20 to 30 reps, right? So this is really exercise dependent and then also how your joints, connective tissues feel. But essentially you want to pick a rep range that suits you best. The most common rep range typically is, within the 5 to 15 rep range, right? But as long as you're within that 5 to 30 rep range, you are going to be good to go. And now this is really important as well. The 4th point is make sure you slow down the negatives. So essentially the eccentric part of the exercise. So when you're lifting weights, there are 3 components to it. There's the concentric, so they're going up phase. There's the isometric, so literally you just holding the weights like at the top doing nothing. And then there's the eccentric, which is the lowering phase. And studies have shown that the eccentric part of the exercise, so the lowering phase or the negative phase, is the most hypertrophic, aka muscle building part of the exercise. So if you were to milk out or place emphasis towards any portion of the lift, it should be the negative, the eccentric part of the exercise, because once again, that is the most muscle promoting, muscle building part of the exercise. And so what this could look like in real life is you take your weight and you explode it up, right? You don't need to be super slow on your way up. Like I'd rather you explode the weight up, right? You don't need to like hold it there for a second. You can even like go slightly shy of lockout, but just to make it a full rep, just go all the way to lockout. You don't need to hang out there for a long time. Just like lock out really quick. Or if you want to, you can go just shy of lockout. And then more importantly, really slow it on the way down, right? So explode up and then nice and slow on the way down. And then bonus points, hold a slight pause at the bottom. That'll just make the exercise 10 times harder. And you will certainly have to drop the weight and drop your ego as well. But at the end of the day, we're not in the gym to boost our ego. We're there to boost our muscles, right? And sometimes boosting our muscles does not correlate with boosting our ego, if that makes sense, in terms of you're going to have to use a lot less weight, but you'll have bigger muscles and your risk of injury will be a lot lighter as well. So yeah, it's actually kind of a win-win situation there. And then last thing here is add weight or reps weekly. Like this should be a non-negotiable, right? Because progress equals growth. And now most jacked guys, all of our clients and myself, follow a very simple, basic workout split. So once again, depending on how often you can actually work out and go to the gym, like I said, from as little as 2 workouts a week all the way up to 6 workouts a week. So if you can only go 2 days a week, following 2 full body workouts is going to be amazing for you. If you can do 3 workouts, doing 3, or maybe even like a 1 whole body workout and then doing a lower body and then an upper body workout, that'll be amazing for you as well. If you want to do 4 workouts a week, you can do like an upper lower split where you're doing 2 lower body workouts and 2 upper body workouts. If you want to go all the way up to 6 days, which definitely is not required, and definitely like most of our clients, we don't have them do that because it's just not necessary. But if you insist, you can follow more of like an advanced split of like a leg push pull split, where under your leg days, you're doing like your quads, glutes, hamstrings, calves. Push day, you're doing your chest, shoulders, biceps, triceps, and then back or pull day will be like your back, biceps, and your rear delts essentially, right? So as long as you're hitting each muscle group 2 times per week, you're going to be good to go. And now, once again, using the same exercises, adding reps every single week with good, proper form, and then training close to failure at around from as little as 3 reps in reserve all the way up to 0 reps in reserve. So essentially on the intensity scale, going from 70% and all the way up to 100%. As long as you're going close to failure, progressively overloading, hitting each muscle group 2 times per week, and are able to track your progress over time, you are going to be good to go. It is simple, it is brutal, but it is effective. Now let's move on to section number 5, which is tracking. The real secrets to guaranteed results. I talk to a lot of people throughout the day, and I ask them, how many calories are you eating? What are your macros? What is your logbook? Like, what did you do last week? What is your weight? All these things. And they have no idea. One of the things that I like to tell everyone is that if you ain't tracking, you are slacking. If you ain't tracking, you, my friend, are slacking. If you care about results, if you care about something, you should keep track of it. Studies have actually shown that fat, obese people did nothing apart from weigh themselves every single day. And they started losing weight just subconsciously because they were aware of their tracking. They were aware of their weight every single day. And they just maybe just subconsciously started to make some better food choices. Maybe they started to be a bit more active. Maybe they did not eat as much food, but just by them being aware of their weight, just subconsciously it made them lose weight, right? And so if you want to start making progress with something and you're not keeping track, like start keeping track. And I guarantee you, you're going to automatically start seeing way, way, way faster and way quicker results. So the people who make the most progress in life all have one thing in common. They track. And like, I know some people who are very successful in a lot of things, and they literally track everything, like from their finances to like how much money is coming in, how much money is coming out. When it comes to fitness, like how many calories they're consuming, how many calories they're burning, their macronutrients, exactly how much protein they're eating, how much fats, how much carbs, their steps, how much water they're drinking, their workouts. They have everything on a workout log. Like the more things that you keep track of, the better your progress will be, period. So I myself keep track of a lot of things that I care about, but very meticulously. So I keep track daily of my steps. I keep track of my weekly mileage. I keep track of my paces during my runs. I keep track of my sleep. I keep track of my energy levels. I keep track of my mood. I keep track of my digestion. I keep track of all of my calories, all of my macros. And I don't just track it for tracking's sake, but I use that data to inform me on what decisions I need to make. And especially when it comes to your weights, like if you are keeping track of your calories, you're keeping track of your weight, and you're keeping track of, I mean, honestly, like just those two things, like if you're keeping track of your calories and you're keeping track of your weight, you can make some very wise decisions when it comes to what you should be doing when it comes to actually seeing results. Like if you know exactly how many calories you're eating, and you also know exactly how your weight fluctuates based on how many calories you're consuming, you can either add more calories if you want to up the weight, or decrease the calories if you want to start losing weight. But the more knowledge you have, the more power you have. Because if you're constantly just second guessing yourself and just going based off feel or whatever, like you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So the most successful people I know, they track their weight, their measurements, progress pictures, their reps, their calories, their protein, their steps. You must find proof that your fat is going down or that your muscle is going up. You have to find proof, because without proof, you're just, once again, you're just kind of guessing. And I don't know about you, but I would rather know for sure than guess, because proof creates motivation, and motivation creates consistency, and consistency creates transformation. So moving on to the last section here, or the second to last section, and that is some common mistakes that you must watch out for. Because we covered a lot during this video, right? But there's still going to be a lot of people who are going to be making some pretty common mistakes, which I'm going to discuss right now. So number one, dropping calories too quickly. Huge mistake. You'll lose weight, but you also lose strength, you'll lose muscle, you'll lose sleep, you'll lose testosterone, and overall you lose motivation. Like far too often I see people go on these binge or like these restrictive diets, on these juice cleanses, detox teas. And yes, like they will very easily lose 10, 20 pounds, but they gain it all back again. But then all the weight that they did lose was mostly just water weight, probably a ton of muscle and a bit of fat too, right? And so the slower you can take things, the better it'll be and the more sustainable it'll be too. So avoid that mistake. Don't drop your calories too quickly. Once again, aim to lose around 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week. Mistake number two is chasing variety. I know we live in a world where we like things to be different every single week, right? We want variety, we want dopamine, we want all these things. But successful men eat the same 2 to 4 meals on repeat. They just do. And they keep their workouts the same and they progressively overload. Third mistake, not training close enough to failure. Your last 2 to 3 reps should look ugly. You should be pulling the craziest, ugliest faces out there. If I don't see your face change, if you're not grunting, if you're not doing anything with your face, you're probably not training hard enough, period. But make sure they're controlled reps. Once again, form is key. Mistake number 4 is ignoring recovery. Sleep under 7 hours equals less fat loss, less muscle growth, and more cravings. Like so many studies have shown nowadays that if you lack sleep, your hunger hormones go all out of whack. You're more prone to muscle loss. You're more prone to having crazier cravings. It just sucks. Like it's just a crappy situation to be in. So do not sleep on your sleep and get in your sleep. And a mistake number 5 is listening to influencers who never trained a real client. Like this really bothers me because as someone who is an online weight loss coach, I've been training people in person since 2021, right after COVID. I've gone through my own transformation and then started my online coaching program in 2022. Like it's been close to 4 years now. Like we've helped hundreds of busy guys go through this. And unfortunately, the barrier to entry is pretty much zero when it comes to this, right? And so be careful who you actually take your information from. And one of the things that I look out for when it comes to seeking advice from other people is 2 things. Number 1, do they have the results that I want? So for example, if I want to if I want to get into better shape, I'm going to be number 1, looking at the actual trainer themselves. Like if I want 6-pack abs, does the trainer actually have 6-pack abs? Because they could very well know how to get 6-pack abs, but if they themselves don't actually live the lifestyle, there's some incongruency there. I'm going to not be trusting that person as much, right? So proof should be in the pudding, both for themselves. And then secondly, have they helped other people do it? AKA their clients. Do they have clients? And ideally, the more the better, right? So these should be the 2 things that you should look out for when it comes to like you seeking advice from anyone that you see online. Number 1, have they done it themselves? Number 2, have they helped other people do it? If that is the case, you should feel pretty confident in them. But then yet again, there are so many people out there. So just be careful. So yeah, that's basically everything. Now the final section here, just to kind of put all of this blueprints together, almost to give you guys like a TLDR that you can start implementing right away. So make sure you have your pen and paper handy, write down some notes. And let me just show you guys the exact step-by-step system. So step number 1, calculate your calories. Calories are king. You have to find your maintenance calories, which you can find on any caloriecalculator.com, on Google, wherever else you want to find it. Or you can just simply take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 15. That should give you a rough estimate, but not a 100% accurate number. But once you have found your maintenance calories, subtract 300 to 500 calories from that number. So you should lose around 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week. Number 2, hit your protein. Very easy. General rule of thumb, 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight, or just current body weight. That also works. Number 3, lift weights 2 to 6 times per week. Make sure it is simple, repeatable exercises that you're incorporating into your workout splits. Number 4, walk 8 to 10,000 steps daily. This is going to be your fat burning methods of you burning fats. Like this is going to be your fat burning machine, basically. Number 5 is track daily. If you ain't tracking, you are slacking, right? So your weights, your steps, your protein, your training log, and your progress pictures. Make sure you keep track of them. The more things you track, the better your progress will be. I guarantee you that. Number 6 is sleep. At the very least, bare minimum, 7 hours daily. And then last thing here is repeat this for 12 weeks. And now this is where a lot of people go wrong, right? A lot of people can do what I just said for a day, a couple days, maybe even for a week, but a lot of people can't do this for weeks and months on end. And unfortunately, when it comes to you actually seeing results, you are going to have to repeat this for at the very least a couple months, right? And so if you can do this, you will 100% lose your body fat, build the muscle you want, look better shirtless, feel more confident, and become the man your wife and kids, whoever else will admire. And you will absolutely transform your life permanently. This isn't magic. It is science plus consistency and simplicity. That is it. There's no need to overcomplicate this. So if you want me and my coaching team to build you your exact calories, macros, workouts, meal plan, and hold you accountable so you can stick through this for months when you actually tend to see the results you're looking for, what you can go ahead and do is book a free consultation call with me down below, where we'll essentially go over your current goals. We'll see exactly how much weight you are looking to lose. We'll see exactly what's holding you back right now from achieving that goal. And then lastly, we'll create a game plan together to help you absolutely crush your goals in the next 3 to 6 months. If that sounds good to you, the link will be in the description down below. And with that said, I'll let you guys go and I'll see you all soon. Peace.